this video, or more specifically, the effort you put into this video and this exercise I'm about to share with you guys has not even the possibility this will change your life. It's so important that I'm not even going to bother adding any fluff in. I'm not going to sell you anything. I'm just going to get right into it. And it is the number one skill slash habit slash whatever you want to call it thing that you need to develop, especially in this day and age in 2024, because there's so much scams, so much BS, so much fluff out there. You really need to develop your common sense, because common sense isn't really common, and it is something you can train to develop yourself as a person, because common sense essentially just comes down to you growing up as a person, right? So that's why I never understood why people were like, hey, just use common sense. It's like, it's such a vague thing, and this exercise actually makes it way less vague, and it puts things into little bite-sized things that you can literally refer back to at any given time. So we're going to go over the why first, just to give you the context a little bit so you can understand this thing a little bit better when I go through it. So you're really going to, like, you can see results from doing this instantly, but you're really going to understand the gravity of this situation over a couple months. Like, the more you do this, the more, like, work you put into this, the more it's going to reward you. It's literally like meditation, right? The more you do it, the more beneficial it's going to be for you. And ironically, that was a really big component to putting this together, and it's going to be a life hack for you to kind of supercharge this, because a good benefit of meditation is your awareness in general grows, and you just start paying more attention to things, and you see things a lot more clearer. And this template is basically, I took part, like, I've worked through like 40 different planners over the last decade, and this is a little simpler version of basically how to supercharge growth as fast as possible in like the most efficient manner possible. There's a lot of different templates of this out there, but not really, because people like Tim Ferriss even mentioned, you know, in his book 4-Hour Workweek, like that book came out like a decade ago, right? Like more than a decade ago, where there's like, hey, just journal and track everything. So like when you want to get like the same results and you're stuck, like let's say you want to lose 20 pounds and then you lost 20 pounds when you were in high school, and if you were journaling everything, you can like look back at that journal, and instead of seeing a BBL, you're like, hey, I was doing keto and I was hitting the gym 5 times a week. So you just do the same inputs again, and you put, like, in theory, get the same outputs again, right? So this, while that's really good to kind of like do copy and paste situations, this is more future based, where like, how do you supercharge your leveling up process as a person? So I've been doing this for the last couple weeks, couple months, kind of in the back of my mind, but the last couple weeks I've been getting more intentional and serious with this, because I'm starting to understand the value of this, because I've been doing it in the back of my mind for a while, but I've been neglecting writing it down. And like when the value clicked in for me, I'm like, okay, I gotta take this seriously. So when it clicked in for me was when I'm restarting my life again. And in entrepreneurship, you know, there's sometimes you wipe out and you have to start again. So I was applying for jobs, and I was interviewing with one of the best agencies in the United States, right? It's like probably the biggest company out there, if not like the second or third. And the manager was like, hey, the way you're describing to do this campaign, right, we found that it doesn't work at all. It actually makes things worse. And if I wasn't paying attention and if I didn't have the experience, I would have been freaking out, because I'm like, dude, this guy's in a more higher power position than I'm in, because I'm like essentially out, you know, begging with a little cup, like, can I have a job, sir, please? Like, instead of panicking, I'm like, I have the experience, like maybe they're doing something wrong. And I stood my ground. I was like, no, in my experience, I've literally had the exact opposite experience, and I didn't falter. And I'm pretty sure that's what got me the job. I turned it down, but that's when I was like, okay, this has some value. And I started doing this a bit more intentionally, where I just take apart my fears and limiting beliefs, and it's dude, I can't describe to you like how much it's like a superpower. It's like super levels you. It's insane. So let's get into it, right? It's very simple. First section, the date. It's like when you want to start paying attention to things, or like this specific thing. And then we have beliefs, and then assumption. So this is essentially, and then your why, right? Like your experience that's like putting it together. So for example, that we have two examples in this video. One we're going to be using is going to be dropshipping is dead. So I got into dropshipping in like 2015. 3 months later, people were like, dropshipping is saturated, dropshipping is dead. So just to give you context, people have been saying this for a while. So let's say that you saw an ad of some dude with a Lamborghini in his garage reading books and whatever, and then you're like, let me start trying dropshipping. Let's say you spent a couple bucks and you tried like 4 or 5 products, and all you got was just people in your comments saying, oh my god, are you Mikey? Like, oh my god, company for the algorithm. Oh my god, algorithm. Nice product, bro. It's like literally other just dropshippers saying like, hey, this is dropshipping product, and you don't get no sales. But part of you is like not satisfied with that, right? Like you're about to go to bed, you're like scrolling through your Instagram, and this like, you know, kid with braces who's like barely, you know, 13 pops up and he's buying his 4th pink Lamborghini just because he's trying to make Skittles happen in his garage or something. He can't even drive the thing, but he's saying he's doing this all through dropshipping. So part of you is like, hey, there's something here to this, right? So you're like, you know what? I'm gonna try again. So you go ahead and then you try 10 more products, 7 more products, and then the last month you get your first sale. And then instantly a new door just opened up in your mind and you just see the whole world differently. And then you're like, you know what? All these people on YouTube make it seem to be so easy, but maybe it's just a lot more work and maybe there's more stuff that I don't know. So let's say the next thing you do is like you make your own videos or your own photos, or like everybody's talking about doing Facebook and Google ads. You're like, let me try Bing ads. Let me go to Yahoo. Let me try Yahoo ads or ads on Hulu. This stuff is like in its infancy and these people literally barely have seen ads. So they're like really good people to like target for ads, right? You go ahead and you try it and then all of a sudden you're making $500 a month. So when you put all this stuff down in this sheet, right? Like you saw it at the start of the month, dropshipping was dead. You tried it out, it didn't work. Part of you was like, nah, there's something going on here. You try again. The result was you start getting sales, a new possibility opened up, and then at the end of the month, like, what's the growth that happened, right? Like, you literally created a new income for yourself. It might be $500 a month, but it's $500 a month you didn't have before. And in this economy, even that can play a significant role for somebody, right? Like, I have a friend who's a manager at a Subway. His goal, like, even though all these people on YouTube talk about making 10K a month, 20K a month, he's like, bro, I'd be happy to make an extra $500 a month. And he really likes being a manager at Subway because it's not the stress of you having to run your own company. Instead, he just runs his own store. He's like the best sandwich maker in like his state, and he's killing it, and he's happy doing that. He just needs a couple extra bucks to maybe go golfing another time or two in the month, right? You don't have to go crazy with this. So another example could be, this is something that actually happened with me, was like, especially around 2020, where like a lot of people were showing up on like TikTok or stuff as being creeps, or like, you know, being things that were being blown out of proportion, right? So I just started assuming, it like made me really bitter as a person, where like I didn't even want to go talk to people outside because I'm like, I don't want to end up on TikTok to being some type of creep just because I wanted to like say hi to a person, right? Because there's like a whole subgenre of like self-development called looks maxing, where you're like, unless you're 80 feet tall, have a chiseled jawline, and make like 900 million a second, you're not gonna get anybody attractive to be like your friend or like your girlfriend or something. And it's just so stupid. It's like, it's oh my god, it's so stupid. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody knows, you know, some girl who's like insanely attractive, who's dating somebody who's like, you know, like Selena Gomez, right? Like, what the internet freaked out so much just because like what's his name, Benny isn't like a supermodel or something. But you know, people don't realize looks aren't the end all be all, right? There's more to people than just their BBL. So over here, I put it down like, hey, I don't want to be a creep. You know, I don't want to be looked at as somebody weird just because I'm trying to make a social life. Because being an entrepreneur and working from home, you don't really go out much, right? You don't have much of a social life. So you literally have to take responsibility of making your own social life, right? So, like, let's say you go out and you go say hi to like 3 people and all of them were like, no. They don't even say anything. They just go, no. That's also happened to me where I'm literally like, hey, and like, no. And they just walk off. It's happened, right? And you're like, you might get thrown off by that, but then later you're thinking like, dude, I've watched so many rom-com movies, like so many people meeting like the weirdest ways. Like, there's no way that, you know, that's the end of the story there, where just people just say no. So let's say you decide to grow up and you put some serious effort into this, because in probability and statistics, people only look at sets of data in 100 plus. Essentially 250 to 500 is like the bare minimum they'll look at to determine patterns and stuff of that nature. So let's say you're like basing all this off of what, 3 interactions, right? So like, well, that literally has no significance whatsoever. So let's say you're an adult and you're like, let's go talk to 100 people. And if you have a 9 to 5, I understand it's not, you know, you can't do it in like a week, but let's say it takes you 3 months. But you're paying attention, you're writing it down, right? Like, hey, you know, today I talked to like 3 people, today I talked to 5 people, you're adding it up. And then at the end of the experiment, say, because you set a goal, let's do 100 people. And then at the end of it, you can be like, hey, literally half the people I met, I swapped numbers with. And like, I'm like doing dinners at their house, or we're doing a barbecue, we're going hiking. And you literally have 50 friends, like new friends that you didn't have before, right? So at the end of it, you look back and you're like, people want to be social. People like hanging out. It's just some people, maybe they're just having a bad day. Who knows? It's not really your problem, honestly. Like, you don't have to worry about how people respond to you. That's kind of more on them. It's just, you know, if they get along with you, that's all you really need to know. So, like, you can see the impact it would have, right? Like, what is like coaching? A big part of coaching and accountability is just you doing this, and like you're paying somebody else to do this for you. A free Google template just did this for you, and all you have to do is just fill in the blanks and just do the work. Now, I understand this can be very challenging, as a really good person called Thomas Campbell, the author of the My Big Toe trilogy, says some teddy bears are really hard to get rid of or saying goodbye to, right? So it can get challenging at times, because certain belief traps kind of hold us in our own comfort zone, because then you don't have to worry about like growing up. But the more you do this, the more you start realizing how little you know, and just how much freedom you truly have. And it can be very nauseating for people, because like, what do you do when you can do anything, right? It's like, it's just so crazy. So I don't want to get too ranty or like keep yapping. So I want to thank you guys if you've made it this far for watching. I'm going to leave this in the description so you can just make a copy and make it for yourself. If you don't see it, because last time YouTube was like giving me issues for like posting a link because I don't have enough subscribers, if you see that, just message me on Instagram. It's the same YouTube, like my name, Sahib's Lifestyle. It's the same Instagram tag. Just DM me there, and I will send you a copy of this. Or you can make it yourself. It's pretty straightforward. But yeah, feel free to make it. If you like it, please subscribe as a thanks, I guess. And yeah, I hope this serves you as well as it has served me. And thank you for watching again.